Welcome everyone to Womanosity for Women with Curiosity. I'm Tadia Rice, your guide on our virtual listening journey. Thank you for being with me on Woman Radio. I value each one of you more than you will ever know. I love interviewing women around the world because each one has a story that is compelling, motivating, sometimes very funny, and at other times serious, but always inspiring. No matter where, what, or who, my guests always demonstrate the power and strength of women who are curious. Today, my guest is so precious to me, a dear friend from a faraway place whose story is all about being resilient in the face of tragedy, being faithful during the most threatening of times. In the 1980s, Olya Roohizadegan was a businesswoman in Iran, working as a human resource professional for the National Iranian Oil Company, one of the largest companies in the country. But amid the escalating imprisonment of religious minorities at the hands of fundamentalist Iranian revolutionaries, it was her story that exposed one of the most heinous of human rights violations. As her friends, neighbors, and relatives were being imprisoned and tortured, she would visit them. She would comfort them. When they were executed, she consoled the families left behind. Then, in 1983, it was her turn. We're going to find out how Olya lived through this unimaginable ordeal and triumphed to write a captivating and authoritative eyewitness account of the genocide against the Baha'is of Iran. Her book, Olya's Story, reveals an inspiring example of faith, humor, courage, and love. Welcome, my dear friend, Olya Roohizadegan, author, courageous woman, and amazing individual.
Thank you very much. I am very happy to be here to tell the world a story of innocent women.
Thank you so much. Now, Olya, before we get into the remarkable story you shared in your book, I'd like our listeners to know that you now live in Sydney, Australia. But when you escaped Iran to Pakistan, you were then flown to the UK, to London, and that's where you became a refugee. You created a new career as a hairdresser, going from being a prominent, successful businesswoman in a fairly modern Persia to a prisoner in the repressive theocracy of Iran, and then an escapee with a price on your head, and finally being a refugee in the Western world. That took audacity and endless bravery. You then became an author. You shared your dramatic and amazing story in your book called Olya's Story. And as an author, you ended up traveling around Europe and North America, all over the world, to tell your story to the Western world. And that's when I met you, and you changed my life. Thank you, Olya.
Thank you for giving me opportunity and inviting me. My story is not Olya's story. This is a story of all people innocent around the world. I get a good position to get opportunity, write my book, tell the world, to be support of many people around the world. By support, unity, we can do so many things.
Oh, you're so right about that. And still today, the Islamic Republic of Iran continues to imprison and execute religious minorities, including Sunni Muslims, Sufi Muslims, Yarsani Muslims, Baha'is, Christians, and Jews. Iranian authorities have arrested scores of these religious minorities who face lengthy prison sentences, and they harass others or they deny them advancement in higher education or even employment. Iran's population is predominantly Shiite Muslim, and Shiism is the official religion of the state. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and Zoroastrianism are the only recognized religions, but Baha'is are considered heretics. Based on religious grounds, the Iranian government also mistreats women. The World Economic Forum's report ranked Iran 140 out of 144 countries for gender parity. Females comprise less than 20% of Iran's paid workforce. The World Bank lists 23 restrictions in Iranian law on married women. These include applying for a passport, traveling outside the country, choosing where to live, or being head of the household. Women cannot just get a job or pursue a profession in the same way a man can. They cannot be ensured equal pay for equal work. And there are no laws to restrain gender discrimination in hiring. According to some reports, hundreds of Iranian women are killed each year in honor killings. A 2019 report concluded that nearly 30% of all murder cases in Iran were honor killings, 30%. They were the killings of women and girls. And female genital mutilation among migrants and minority groups ranges from 40 to 85%. It's not easy to be a woman in today's Iran. Olya, do you think the future of women in Iran will ever change?
I hope so, because really women in Iran, they have no rights. For example, we believe men and women equal, equality of men and women. Role of women is very, very important. First educator for child is mother. And this is the reason we were arrested, in prison, tortured, because we believe that men and women, role of women important than men, as mother has got so capacity and so sacrifice. But this is reason in Iran, they don't believe women. They said men high, women is half. But we believe that men and women equal. As a Baha'i, we believe that equality of men and women, unity of religions, and we believe independent investigation of truth. We have no clergy, no priest, no leader. We believe we must remove prejudice. Color doesn't matter, black, white, all we are one family, one people. We believe that very important that education, especially for mother. If the Baha'u'llah said, if you have got two child, one boy, one girl, if you cannot offer both, send for education, choose a girl, because first educator for child is mother. This is the reason they were against women, especially for Baha'is. Baha'i believe in freedom, but the freedom of women. Baha'is believe we must enable and establish social justice for peace, and that will happen only when women attend full partnership with men in all. We need social justice for peace. That only happens when women attend for partnership with men in the whole area.
I absolutely agree. When women do attain parity with men, it will change the world and we'll have a world of peace, really. There's so much more to talk about, friends. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Olya Roohizadegan in Sydney, Australia, telling us about her amazing story of escaping Iran, escaping death.
Hello, hi, muraho, mwaramutse, mumeze mute. My name is Hope Azeda. I'm an artist from Kigali, Rwanda. You are listening to Woman Radio. I am listening to. Welcome, Murakazanez.
This is Almaz Crow in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, listening to Woman Radio for great interviews and wonderful music. It's important that people come together, and Woman Radio does that, especially for women. Women, let's unite. We gotta take over this world. While I listen to Women Radio, and I hope you do too.
Moshavi, my name is Kerishi Tendero from Namibia, and you are listening to Womana Radio for well-organized men. I'm listening to.
Hi, I'm Disero Mamabulo from Light of Africa, South Africa in Pretoria. I listen to Women Radio when I want to learn new things or hear new music. The shows are always stimulating from on the couch to womanicity. There is always something interesting or inspirational. I'm glad you are listening too.
We're back, folks. Thank you so much. We're with Olya Roohizadegan in Sydney, Australia, and she is telling us about her remarkable story that she wrote about in her first book called Olya's Story. Okay, Olya, tell me what happened when you were first arrested.
Well, it was 29th of November, 1982, and several Revolutionary Guards by gun attacked my house. And then they says that we have authority arrest you. I said, what reason? Said, because you are Baha'i. As I mentioned that, Ayatollah Khomeini announced to TV, radio, don't allow anyone come to a house of any people. They said, not for you as a Baha'i. For other people, we don't allow to go. But for Baha'i, we have to come and search him. And then came, they had the gun, and 4 Revolutionary Guards go to each room, and confiscated our saving account, birth certificate, checkbook, front of my 3 years old, and boy was so shocked. And then I had the guest as well that night. And then they don't allow anyone to move. It was very, very hard time for my little boy to look them. They were so angry, unbelievable. How can a human being to do something like that? It was very, very hard time for all of us. We were shocked, surprised.
So they took you to prison then?
Then they told me that I'm with my husband, you have to come with us. Told to our guests, don't move until when we left. And then they asked my husband, anybody can look after your child? We said no. Then they took me from home and then to their car. My little boy followed me and crying and hold the handle of their car. Said, I want my mom, please, please, don't take my mom. I love my mom. I can't believe that. By shouting, crying, my neighbor came out of their house. When they saw they have got gone, they go back and shut the door. And then they put me in the car and threw away my son, and my husband hold it through the air. And then they put in the gun in my head. I said, what reason? Said, if you want to escape. I said, I didn't do anything wrong. Why I escape? I'm in your car. 3 gun was against my head because the driver was drive the car. I was sitting front of the car. And then they blindfolded me. They took me in prison that night.
Then after a period of time, I remember you recounted in your book that when the authorities, they brought your husband and your little boy, who was only 3, into the interrogation room. And what did they tell you?
Well, after so many days, I had interrogation with other women and men of Baha'i together, sometimes 16 hours, most of the day, 8, 10 to sometimes very long interrogation, because we have no lawyer, nobody, they were lawyer, they were our interrogation. And then when they brought my 3-year-old son, they put in my lap, they said that if you not deny your faith, become Muslim, I will kill your son, then kill you as well. I said, I believe as a Baha'i, Abraham, Krishna, Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Zoroaster, Muhammad. All we believe unity of religion. We believe all is one, all come from one God, one soul. At different age, different place, different people. I believe all of them said, only way you can deny your faith. I said, I can't. Said, in front of you, I kill your child. Kill you later as well. I said, you can kill me. You can kill my child. You can kill our body, but you cannot kill our souls.
Wow. What did they say when you said that?
They shouted me, said, a shame of you. I said, when a shame of me, my son grow up and mother deny the truth. I want when my son, if alive, proud of her mother died, didn't deny truth. I don't want to deny my belief.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
And then they ask my husband, if you give deed of your house, your wife will be free. But my husband brought them deed of our house. And also they mention about money, cash money, said if you give the million tuman, your wife will be free. That was temporary free, I believe that, because request for all Baha'i prisoners in prison. They asked for money, did their house, and then I was temporarily released. I was not released forever.
So if you would have given them $1 million tuman, they said they would let you go, but would they really?
They said temporary. That is what they want money. They did for many Baha'is, or did your house, because we had not cash, 1 million. All Baha'i, they give some of them, when they discharged by did their house, they will be just temporary, then for second time attack to our house for arrest us again. It was not forever. No.
I see. So then they sentenced you to prison for
Yes.
for being a Baha'i, only being a Baha'i, no other crime.
No, because we didn't do anything wrong. Even my neighbor, older than 12 Muslim neighbor, wrote a letter to in our interrogator and says that they didn't do anything wrong. Why you arrest our neighbor? Why you do that? And also my boss colleagues in oil company, although I was by government Iran Islamic clergy sacked from my job, but still they wrote, all my colleagues from oil companies sent letter to the government, and then interrogator showed me 2 letters, said they all defense you. They said, why you arrest this good, even my boss said was very my best employer to work hard. Why you arrest, because the government said, because she's Baha'i, only can say I'm not Baha'i, will be released, but we cannot say lie. This is the reason.
So this was a time that really became what I see has been called the Baha'i pogrom. They were arresting and executing many, many Baha'is during the 80s, and even in the 70s and previous to that, there was always persecution against the Baha'is. So you went to prison with several other Baha'i women. You were all sentenced to death and you were tortured. Can you tell me a little bit about those days?
Well, in the cell, I would like to describe that it was 2 cells joined together. Each cell was 6 by 4 meters, and 50 prisoners. We've been together, drug addict, murder, political people, some people, illness people. We have no bed to only floor, sleep on blanket, give us for 3 people. It was 1 food plate for 4 people. They said, it is your food, share with other, but we offer each other it was really cannot imagine in prison is not other country prison. It was very, very difficult.
So you slept on the floor
Of course,
with no bed?
yes.
And were
No,
there
we have no bed. Even we have no space. Only we sleep one side, and we have to grab our food. It was not room enough. Only even they said, as a Baha'i, one side, you are untouchable and clean. And we had a tiny space to sleep. It was very difficult. Always we sleep one side.
So were you beaten?
No, really. Twice time they take me with Masjid, one of them girls in Masjid Niruman in basement for torture us. But several hours we've been in a basement, and then they ask question, mental torture. After so many hours, who is Baha'i, give their name from, we have plan for all Baha'i around the world. And then we were under really, really mentally tortured. And then they decided not beat us by electric cable. They threw the bag, they took us the bag. Only few ladies were very, very bad torture.
Oh my. Did they put guns to your head?
Yes, as I mentioned, we did different kind of mentally torture several times when they took me with other lady for interrogation in the take-off cell, and by blindfolded us, they shall face against the wall, putting the gun over back, over head, said, are you still Baha'i? All we said, yes. They said, they suddenly, they threw the air, shoot. They said, we kill all of you. Nobody know what happened to you.
Oh my goodness. So what gave you, I don't know, how did you endure that? How did you get through the threats?
Well, because really we trust in God. We had a confidence and pray by heart. Even they don't allow us to pray yet. When I remember first I start to pray, and then they said, shut up, you cannot pray. And then, but midnight when everybody is asleep, we just by heart talk to God. Our belief make us very strong.
My goodness. Oh, I would say you must have a very strong belief. You are a very strong believer in the Baha'i religion, because all of that is really quite unbearable. Oh my goodness. Friends, we're going to be right back with Olya Roohizadegan, and we're going to talk about how she escaped death. You don't want to miss this story. We'll be right back.
This is Barbara Nussbaum in Cape Town, South Africa. I love Woman Radio. I listen as often as I can. The music is wonderful and the guests are absolutely inspiring. I hope you're listening too.
Mna ndingukhwezi futhi ucenenda and ndithanda ukumamela iWoman Radio ndizokufunda izinto ezintsha ndive nomculo omnandi. Iinkqubo zabo zimnandi kwaye zisebenzisa ingqondo. Ukusukela On the Couch to Womanicity, hlala kukho into emnandi yokumamela nemfundiso entsha. Ndithanda kakhulu ukuba ngummameli. Ndiyavuya ukuba nawe umamele.
Ich bin Leila Tavanaro Hedarian aus Wien und höre Woman Radio. Ich lerne so viel Interessantes von den Radiomoderatorinnen und liebe die Musik. Ich freue mich, dass ihr auch Woman Radio hört.
Womanicity is like a good cup of coffee with a new friend, somebody I'd never have a chance to meet. Sometimes it's a new idea or thinking about an old one in a new way. It's girlfriends. It's Tadia and it's all good. This is American artist, writer, and girlfriend Jenny Cooley in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
We're back with Olya Roohizadegan in Sydney, Australia, and we're talking about her remarkable book, Olya's Story, that she wrote after she was able to escape prison and escape death. And we're going to talk about her escape from Iran. It had to have been a perilous journey. You left behind 10 of your cellmates, all Baha'i women who were very young to very old. And it was very sad for you, but you were able to save your life and that of your son, who was 3, and your husband. How did you escape? How did you get from Iran to Pakistan?
When I was discharged temporarily, I remember in prison, one guard told me that you are not released, just temporary. They won't follow you, find more Baha'is. I came out of prison, I did my house. Then few days later, again attacked my house to arrest me. I was lucky, my neighbor Muslim helped me. And then I escaped through the mountain. 6 days and night, border Iran and Pakistan through the mountain desert with my husband, with my 3-year-old son, with one clothes, and we escaped from our house. It was not easy.
Was it cold? I mean, how did you get through the mountains? Did you have clothing or blankets?
Nothing. Only with one blouse. And my 3-year-old son was that night is really sick. Only with t-shirt was asleep because a high temperature had. And then through the mountain, I hold in my arm and breathe and keep them warm. It was very, very difficult. I don't know how we survived. That on the way, several Pakistani police, they want arrest us. They want return back. But why Baluchi man give them money to save our life? By money, Baluchi gave them. It's difficult. It's not you cannot imagine how much hard to tell. They really very hard, difficult.
Oh, no, I can't imagine that. That is unbelievably horrible. And as you were escaping to Pakistan and through the mountains where it was arduous and cold and difficult, did you have food?
Very difficult. Only one food in the day they gave us because on the desert that guided not facility to be really 3 times give the food to us. Just a tiny bread we eating to be survived. After 6 days and night, border Iran and Pakistan through the mountain, arrived in Karachi. They took us, Baluch man was very, very good man, to the hotel. Then they gave us the day after the food, traditional Persian food.
Wow, how very generous and kind of them. Now, what's very interesting, and this is very pivotal to your story, the national head of the Islamic Revolutionary Court, he was a member of the clergy, but he was also a cold-blooded murderer. It was that man who was responsible for countless executions, including your beloved 10 innocent Baha'i women cellmates. On June 18th, 1983, at night, he hanged them. When you learned about their deaths, how did you feel?
Still, after 39 years past, is so memory clear to my mind. I had a dream, same night was executed, hanging. Oh my God. In my dream, one of them, my 10 women, Nusrat Galdai, came to our room. They said, Olya, why you are crying? Look at us. All we are free like you. We came to see you. Stop you crying. When I wake and crying heavily, and my husband said, what happened? I said, executed them. They said, why are you understanding? I said, just I had a dream. They came to me. They said, we are free. I said, oh, good, they are free. Why you think like that? I said, physically they are free. Sorry, the spiritual free, not physically. I believe that they killed them. And then I rushed to the Baha'i center in Karachi, said what happened in Iran. They said last night, 10 women were executed. 16th of June, 1983, 2 days before six Baha'i men were executed, but last night 10 women were hanged.
So today is June 18th, 2022. 39 years ago, on this very day, June 18th, 1983, 10 remarkable women were hanged. Each one by one, had to watch the other being hanged. I can't imagine what they were going through, but I know you can. And I would like to ask you, what do you think they thought in that moment? And then I would like to memorialize these brave and dedicated women and ask you to say their names and ages.
Yes. Miss Mona Mahmoud Nejad, age 17. Roya Eshraqi, age 22. And Miss Akhtar Sabit, age 24. Miss Simin Sabiri, age 24. Shaheen or Shireen Dalvan, age 25. Mrs. Mahshid Niruman, age 27. 7 Mrs. Zarin Muqimi, age 28. Mrs. Tahir Arjamandi Siavashi, age 29. Mrs. Nusrat Ofrani Yaldai, age 46. And Mrs. Ezak Janami Eshraqi, age 57, mother of Roya Eshraqi.
Thank you. As you can hear, many of those names were the same because they were entire families executed. Husbands, fathers, sons, daughters, mothers, together. It was a terrible, terrible time, and it continues to be. In memory of those beautiful souls who were executed on that horrible night of June 18, 1983. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Possess a pure No man is an island. Ladies, let's open up and discuss issues, whether good or bad. Platforms are there. Woman Radio happens to be just one of them. I'm inviting you on the couch to further discuss areas of concern every Thursday from 10 a.m. South African time to 12 noon. On the couch with me, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, here on Woman Radio, well-organized men, for we are.
Meet me at the party on the couch.
Hi, I am Dr. Sia. Please catch me every Monday at 7 o'clock in the evening on Woman Radio, where I will be talking about breaking free from trauma, from everything that is holding you back from becoming the best version of yourself. Woman Radio, well-organized man, for we are.
Welcome back, friends. We just finished listening to the names of 10 remarkable women who were part of families that were executed in June of 1983 in Iran for no reason other than their religious affiliation. Prisoners of conscience. They were Baha'is, and like so many, over the decades, thousands of Baha'is have been executed and killed because they would not recant their faith and become Muslim, even though they believed in Muhammad and the Islamic teachings. So we're with Olya Roohizadegan, who was among those 10 women but escaped before the hangings. She's now in Sydney, Australia. She's written a most remarkable book called Olya's Story, O-L-Y-A, Olya's Story, so well worth the read, difficult, but you will be so inspired and so empowered with this book.
I never ever forget that moment. It was so painful. All their faces, their voices come to my mind. And then I remember Mona, 17 years old. I know when was 10 years old, girl. I went to her bedroom, never ever forget, there was a picture. And then, oh my God, all memory come. They all that make the human being tree. They said, all we are branch of one tree. That was amazing. And also was they mentioned all we are one people, one family. They wrote a picture. She was very clever girl. I know her in prison. Even all my memory go back. She was arrested with her father, later mother as well, in prison, tortured. Her father forced her to watch your father and told her father, be steadfastness, dad, be strong. Because I was not there when was executed. You know, the bus driver was witness when they hanged them one by one. Mona was last one. And he, after that, told to Mona's mother that Mona was last one, kissed the rope, put her next, and pray for their steadfastness. Mona was last one. Front of her was executed. Oh, the story of 10 women is not like that. Just few minutes I said that. And then can see, my God, was Simin Saberi. She was only 24 years old. She was in prison with us. 10 women, 7 of them was girl. And Simin Saberi girl. And then also was very knowledgeable, working for her company. And also Zarin Mokimi. She memorized, was really 27 years old girl. Bible was memorized.
Olya, do you remain in touch with any of the families that survived of the women who were hanged?
Yes, I have contact with them, but their belief make them strong. Of course, it's very hard, very difficult. If I remember when Mona was executed and with her father, Mr. Yadullah Mahmoud Nejad, I had contact through the Pakistan with Mona's mother. Mother was in prison, was 5 days before Mona was hanged, was discharged from prison. And then all the family, I have contact with them. But really, their belief make them very strong. Of course, human being is not easy hard. Even my friend, 10 women in prison, I was witness, they love their life. They were not fanaticism to be died. Even Mona practice English will be free. They don't want to deny it. And I would very important tell the world, Olya's story is not just Olya's story. A story of love, a story of sacrifice, a story of steadfastness for peace, unity, love, justice, for security. In prison, I made a promise, 10 Baha'i lady. If I was released, I will go out, tell the world our story, because we don't want what happened to us to happen anyone. I forgive government Iran. God is witness. I pray for them. I remember when I was interrogation room one day, after 16 hours, I was unconscious. And then when I was just after unconscious, I found my interrogator to shout at me. I found a pencil of Roya Ishraqi. I hold that in cell. I put in his desk of an interrogator. I said, God is witness. I don't feel any hate you. I pray for you. Instead, torture us. Go investigation. Baha'is believe all manifestation of God. Next word, you are not my interrogator. God is judge for all of us. Instead shouting, instead waste your time. Why you against to especially women? I forgive you, I pray for you. I swear to God, I don't feel any hate you. Said, are you sure you pray for me? I said, I pray for you. I said, of course. Said, even Mrs. Yaldai and Mrs. Tubazairpur, we torture them over 250 lashes by electric cable. They pray for us. I said, of course. Baha'i forgive because you don't know. Instead, waste your time, go searching about what is the Baha'i faith. That never forget, my promise come true. When I escape, I start in very, very basic life in Pakistan. I wrote memory. When I arrived in England, exactly anniversary 10 of women was 1993, my book was published. And then book was published, attention to the media, CNN, BBC World Service, all part of world, country to country, city to city. Even I remember many church priests invited me. I would like to find this, really appreciate that opportunity to all media, radio, television, newspaper, Amnesty International, United Nations, I've been there. And then also European Parliament invited me. I talked, they all support, really support me, support Baha'is in Iran. That time, many people were executed, over 225 Baha'is were executed. Many, many thousand people were in prison. And also they had sentenced to death by support of all media people, dignitary people, and then Baha'is was, many of them was released. And then, but it's still happening, still many my family were in prison and they are waiting for give them again, you know, what is their order of government Iran. It's still happening until today is happening, is not stopped, especially they are against women, against education, Baha'i youth, 43 years, they have no university. Through the dean of university, Baha'i were sacked from their job from university. Yes, really.
Yes, you have done a tremendous service to the Baha'is of Iran and elsewhere around the world where Baha'is are persecuted. Even Jews and Christians are persecuted, and sometimes Zoroastrians. And they can see what has happened to Baha'is. The Baha'is have even, in the face of all this, stood up for the Christians and the Jews and other Muslims who have been treated like the Baha'is. So the Islamic regime, the fundamentalism is really a tragedy that has occurred and the world has witnessed. But it was you who put out a singular testimony as a witness to what actually has happened. Let's move on and shift from those very painful years to the life that you had to establish in a new world with a new language, new challenges, new opportunities. After having lived a refugee life in the UK, you then relocated to Australia so you could be closer to your family. What is life like for you now?
It's very important for me. I love that really all country I visit, I would spend really time to thank God, and I feeling prison was best university for me. I learned that through the difficulties, challenging. I love people, support people. In England, I went to college, learn hairdresser and beautician, and establish new life. I didn't give up. Why? I lost my home, I lost my country, I lost my job. Then after that, when About 2019, moved to Australia. I went to salon, work as hairdresser and beautician, help people in England. I work in Oxfam 1 day a week. Sometimes I cook Persian food, offer them, and really the life so beautiful. I'm enjoy it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you what drives you, what keeps you grounded, focused, and determined. But from what you've just said, I see that it's serving mankind. It is living your beliefs as a Baha'i and living the Baha'i belief system. That is so wonderful. Now, after so many radio and television interviews, when your book came out in 92, and you've raised 3 sons through those times, you can now relax a bit, enjoy your 4 grandchildren. I see now you have a secret to balancing your career with personal demands and passion for your Baha'i family. And you've embraced Baha'is all over the world and all people all over the world. It is really about service for you. So who would be your model of inspiration?
I made a promise to 10 Baha'i ladies. Those 10 women, I remember, they died for justice, for security, for love, for unity. This is my promise come true. I'm so happy because I made a promise to 10 Baha'i ladies.
That is wonderful. Well, they certainly are sheroes. They are absolute heroines. That's for sure. Now, Olya, you have traveled so much, done so much media. Your book was a top seller. Do you have maybe a new book coming out that deals with your life after Iran?
I wish, better say, I wish happen.
Good, because you have a lot of stories to tell about all of the places you've gone, the people you've met. You know, you've gone around the world. You've met all kinds of cultures and different folks and diversity and different religions. And well, I certainly hope you have a second book coming out because I cannot wait to read it. I was so captivated with the first book.
I hope my book will publish, my second book.
Okay, that's good. I hope so too. And do you have a favorite song? I'd like to close the show with it. And I want to thank you so much, Olya, for joining me on this most important date that commemorates the 10 innocent and courageous Iranian Baha'i women who were executed by hanging on June 18th, 1983, 39 years ago in Shogun Square on the outskirts of the city of Shiraz in Fars province. Today, we commemorate each one of them. They committed no crime, but they were sacrificed in the name of freedom of religion and for human rights. Thank you so much, Olya.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Really wonderful time for me. I wish their wish 10 Baha'i lady, their wish come true. Everybody has freedom, love, unity, justice, security for everybody around the world. Miss Mona Mahmoud Nejad, age 17. Roya Eshraqi, age 22. Miss Akhtar Sabit, age 24. Miss Simin Sabiri, age 24. Shaheen or Shireen Dalvan, age 25. Mrs. Mahshid Niruman, age 27. Mrs. Zarin Muqimi, age 28. Mrs. Tahir Arjamandi Siavashi, age 29. Mrs. Nusrat Hofrani Yaldai, age 46. And Mrs. Izzat Janami Eshraqi, age 57, mother of Roya Eshraqi.
shall your powers be. So shall your blessing be. As ye have faith, so shall your powers and blessing be. As ye have faith, so shall your powers and blessing be. This is the balance. This is the balance. This is the
Thank you for being with me today on Womanosity for Women with Curiosity, broadcasting globally on Woman Radio. To enjoy great interviews with remarkable women and music from around the world. Join me, won't you?